Want to give you guys this live update before we get into this epic interview today. So on November 6th and 7th, I will be partnering with the Ambest location, Toot and Totem. I'm excited to go over there. We're going to do some interviews, hang out. The time frame for that is going to be from 7 a.m. to noon on November 6th and 7th. And let me give you some addresses here. So on November 6th, we're going to Toot and Totem's number 99 East Interstate 40, Amarillo, Texas. And then November 7th, we'll be there from 7 a.m. to noon again at 2171 East Slayton Road, Lubbock, Texas 79404. So can't wait to see you guys over there. It's going to be a great time. We're going to do some interviews. See you guys in the morning. Let's get some breakfast together. Mutha truckers, just like always, we're not here to waste your time. You might not got time for an 8-minute, 10-minute video with me and Alex Lockie over here. So let's get this out of the way here. Alex, can you please tell people what the heck is going on?
Everybody, I think, knows now that the DOT has an emergency rulemaking that wants to kick out 200,000 non-domiciled CDL drivers. But a new lawsuit is seeking to stop that in its tracks. Teachers unions and the government workers unions have sued to stop the DOT's new rule, and DOT must respond by Friday. Basically, they say DOT has no evidence. Those 5 deadly crashes you've heard about on the news, from Harjinder Singh, the one in Terrell, Texas, that doesn't mean anything to them. They say that those are 5 crashes out of 5,000. They say that the state licensing wrongdoing doesn't matter. And they make, honestly, a pretty concise argument for it. What they don't have is the voices of American truck drivers talking about what they're seeing on the roads. This lawsuit comes from outside of trucking. Overdrive wants your voices from in trucking to respond to that, and we've set up a poll where you can do that.
What's going on with the truckers? Welcome to Truckernews. Email us at muthatruckernews@gmail.com. We're always here to definitely give you guys some information about trucking and knowing what's going on out there. I got a friend named Alex Lockie. You know, we do a lot of collaborations here and there together. And the good part about this is he reached out and said, look, Alex, I think this is something the truck drivers out there kind of need to pay attention to. So, you know, Alex, you know, thank you so much, brother. Thank you for coming on the show. When you reached out to me, what do you want all the Mutha truckers, all the owner-operators, the fleets, the trucking industry, what do you want them to know before we get into this article that you wrote?
So right now, with the DOT trying to push out 200,000 non-domiciled CDL drivers, this is a huge regulatory effort. And I think a lot of people understand how big of a deal it would make to their life, but the way that this stuff works its way around the government is important to pay attention to as well. Right now, there is a lawsuit heading to in the appeals court of DC. DOT has until Friday to respond. The people suing DOT will respond on Monday, and within a few weeks, we could have a legal decision on whether or not this rule is allowed to go forward. So although all the big news has been made and we've been talking about it, it's, you know, it hasn't landed yet. So I want to call a lot of attention to what's going on with this lawsuit and the conversation about the new rule.
Oh, so, okay. So even though Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy has said, hey, this is the rule, I'm withholding, you know, 40 million, you know, he's made his argument that he could withhold, you know, 160 or even take away the power of California from issuing CDL licenses altogether. You're telling me that by Monday, so next week, sometime next week, there actually might be a fight on this, that none of this will be legally allowed to happen? Or am I saying this wrong?
Yes, potentially that's right. There is a lawsuit right now that says that FMCSA presented no evidence and did not prove that non-domiciled CDL holders are a safety or security risk to the point that they need an emergency rulemaking to immediately get rid of all their CDLs. And They're citing a lot of comments on the Federal Register from non-domiciled drivers who say this is violating their civil rights. So we wanted to get a lot of driver comments too. And we're polling the drivers on what they think to help guide our coverage as we cover this. I'm in touch with the lawyer who is suing the DOT here, and we've been talking about the lawsuit pretty regularly.
Wow. Okay. So let's snap into this real quick, right? So you wrote this article here. No evidence non-domicile CDL is bad for safety lawsuits to block DOT new rule. Where would you like people to go down and make a comment about this? If any.
So there's a survey. There should be a survey at the bottom of that post,
Sure.
at the very bottom, where you can let us know your opinions. Those surveys do guide our coverage. But look, right now, the DOT's own rulemaking, there it is, all that stuff. So it's a cool survey. We are asking about citizenship status. I mean, not that we care, it's just to evaluate your responses. And then we ask if you support the rule change. You can say, yeah, I fully support it. You can say, I support it, but I wish they had done it differently in a few ways. You could say, I don't support it. And, you can rate it out of 10. And then do you think the rates will go up or down? Because what's so interesting on this is that truckers won and were right big time. Everybody was telling truckers they were wrong. There aren't that many foreigners in trucking.
Right.
All the big people who sit at a desk said that over and over again. But truckers kept telling me, no, when I go to a truck stop, it is like the United Nations. There's people from all over who seem
Right.
like they just got in a truck. And I just followed that up with a bunch of basic reporting and proved it. It wasn't hard to prove. All the big freight forecaster egghead guys, if they really wanted to know, if they really wanted to listen to drivers, they can listen to a driver, check the state DMVs. That's what I did. It was all there in black and white. The government listened to drivers and they checked and they found, they say now 200,000
Yeah.
of these drivers out there, but they don't track the citizenship of the individual drivers, and they have no long-term studies about the safety impacts of individual drivers. What they have is the five deadly, terrible, horrific crashes in 2025 that are like really jarring, horrific. I mean, Harjinder Singh in Florida doing the ridiculous U-turn. These guys are on depressants or drunk and just slamming into a line of cars, just unconscionable, really, really bad stuff. The problem is what the lawsuit says is that, okay, you have 5 examples. There were 5,000 crashes the last year we have data. So in the like lawyer logic legal setting, this is they call it a minuscule percentage of crashes can be proved to come from these non-domicile drivers, and that they should throw it out because they don't have the numbers to prove it.
I mean, I can see truck drivers. They're gonna hate this video already, right? I mean, I see it already. They're upset about this. I could tell. One thing I did see is that a lot of the comments down below that are going back to the Federal Registry are most likely non-domiciled drivers making those comments, right? So,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, in the legal standpoint, is 5 accidents enough to make a national big rule change, right? Is that what we're getting to here?
Yeah, basically five. I mean, there's 5 accidents they cite in their rulemaking. They also say that there's all these problems with, how California writes CDLs or how other states are licensing it. And then they also talk about something a lot of drivers have told me is that this is a terrorism risk. If you don't know the person who is driving, pulling around a 53-foot trailer and can park that anywhere in the US, it's very dangerous. And people who came over the southern border undetected, and then during the Biden administration, you could just cross the border and then surrender to Border Patrol and then continue on in the country. So those people wouldn't have gone through the background check that a visa applicant does. So, I mean, it makes sense. On the one hand, it's like, what's the right number of horrific crashes from non-citizens? It's 0. What's the
Right.
right number of potential terrorists who cross the southern border? It's 0. If one of these people has a CDL, it's a big problem because trucks are a bit, it doesn't get bigger than that. But that isn't, this lawsuit makes a good case for the macro view of things, not the, oh, if there's one guy out there, we got to find him, which makes a ton of sense to me. The lawsuit is arguing that they haven't demonstrated enough to the point where the lawsuit is actually from an owner operator, somebody who arrived to the country when they were 2 years old, and has a trucking business. And now this guy says, you're putting me out of business. And that guy's an owner operator. So I'm sympathetic to that point of view. I'm also sympathetic to the American drivers who have been dealing with a terrible freight market, who are getting kicked in the teeth and disrespected everywhere they go. Brokers onboarding some 22-year-old on Adderall is bothering you to integrate
Yeah.
your ELD, or doesn't understand that your, pre-99 engine or whatever. I mean, I am very sympathetic to them. I do my best to keep my own opinions out of this, because if you're a truck driver, you live the life. What do you care what I think? I work at a computer remotely. My opinion is of no value. It doesn't belong in the article. But, right now, I'll give the Mother Trucker exclusive. Here is Alex Lockey's opinion on non-domiciled CDLs. Should they be banned or not? I don't know.
Mm.
I
No,
am
no, I
glad.
know. I hear what you're saying. I think the last leg that American truck drivers have to stand on at this point is, if everyone's truly going hard on English proficiency, right? Like, I mean, I've been shown a lot of this. I've been getting emails, right? I mean, believe me, I've been getting the love and the hate from people, right? And
Yeah,
you know
me too.
what's crazy is a lot of these dash cams and American Truckers United, they Shannon over there, he finds a way to get these dash cams from Arkansas. He lives out there, I believe. If I got that wrong, I apologize. But he's able to get these dash cams, and there's always Asian guys that can't read signs and stuff, and it's so funny because I'll get truck drivers that go, "Oh, it's an
Well, I
Asian guy,
saw
Alex."
he sounded like a Chinese guy was trying
Yeah,
to read the
yeah,
signs.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right. So it's always the Asian guys, and then I get like hundreds of emails. Oh, this guy's Asian. Alex from Mother Trucker News is Asian. Alex probably won't post this. Damn right, I'm going to post this. I think the last leg that we have to stand on for American truck drivers is if every weigh station does an extremely good job that with their inspection that they do, level
Yeah.
1, 2, or 3. Hey, English proficiency test is a big one. And look, it's going to weed out a lot of the bad players. It is, you know what I mean? And so I do feel for some of these DACA drivers too. There's been some stories where they've gotten here when they're 2 or 3 years old. They speak like they're from here. I mean, they
Yeah.
just, but
It would be
then
really confused if you brought them back to the country that they left,
exactly. But
when
then
they
the
were 2.
argument that people make, right, Alex, is
Yeah.
like, okay, you've had 25 years to try to become an American citizen. Why did you not do that, right? And so we
Yeah.
don't we don't have to get into all that, but the big thing here for all the mother truckers out there is there is a slight chance that this lawsuit can throw everything just out the window, and it might make it illegal for the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, to make a nationwide rule saying no domicile. And I don't believe it's no domicile CDL. I believe it's no domicile CDL without the correct
Yeah.
credentials.
Yeah, and almost nobody gets those visas. Like, they say there's 200,000 of them out there, and 6,000 people would be allowed to keep theirs, and those would be a lot of like seasonal work. They're not like over the road long haul. They're not like bidding against you on the spot market. These people are in like forestry or agriculture or something.
Right.
So, yeah, you're right about that. The lawsuit could stop the rule But I mean, once again, the truckers have won. DOT is listening to you.
I know.
Whether or not this rule comes through, that immigration rate on I-40, I mean, look at the map. Trump won both times from Montana to Texas.
Yeah.
The center of the country is deep red. States like Oklahoma and others, I know Wyoming, are partnering with ICE on this 287G program so that each state law enforcement officer also can do immigration enforcement. And they make no secret of the fact that they want to deport millions of people from this country. So if the big interstates in the middle of the country shut this down, it doesn't matter what the rule is, you know, if you can get your CDL or not. If all your CDL is as a temporary resident and non-citizen, like an asylum seeker who your asylum was granted under Biden, or you entered recently under Biden or something, if all your CDL is a ticket for you to get pulled over and deported on I-40 in Oklahoma, then are these drivers really going to stick around or what? I mean,
I agree with you.
the government is telling you they don't want you driving trucks. They're going to try, they'll even stretch to the outer bounds of what they can legally argue to find ways to get you out of that truck. I mean, that's what this government is saying. We are in year one of the second
Yeah.
Trump. It's just getting started.
Yeah.
Potentially it could change in 4 more years, in, you know, the next election cycle. But it's important to know that this lawsuit is not coming from trucking. ATA wants more drivers. They have the driver shortage. They didn't bring the lawsuit. A teachers union and a government workers union did, basically from the bus driver side. They're mostly talking about there is an owner operator at the center of it, but they're talking about, you know, a lot of city buses or school buses might have a recent immigrant driver on there.